Hello everyone, Jai Hind and welcome to the platform of StudyIQ IAS in English. And today we'll be talking about the Anaimangalam Copper Plates. And again, the Chola Kingdom is in the news. Now, when it comes to the complete news, it is that the Netherlands government, it has restituted the 1,000-year-old Chola Copper Plates to India in May 2026. And the complete ceremony, it took place in The Hague in the presence of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Dutch counterpart as well. Now, when it comes to these plates were housed in the Leiden University Library since the mid-19th century, and ultimately this is where we have culminated a decade long of the engagement by the Ministry of Culture and the Archaeological Survey of India for repatriation of these copper plates. Now, when it comes to these copper plates, basically they were of the, there was the two set that was there, which comprises of the larger set, which has 21 plates, and a smaller set as well of 3 plates. And these plates, the inscription that is there, it is written in 2 languages. That is in Sanskrit, that is the genealogy of the Chola kings, and even in the Tamils as well. Alright, that where we have the specifics of the land grant that had been made, which had been mentioned on these copper plates. Now, there is also a seal that is held by a massive bronze ring that is there along with these copper plates that are there. Alright, and there is a Chola, seal that it bears, where there is a tiger which is facing right. Also, there are fish and the bow symbols which can be found, which are related to the other kingdoms which are there, and that portrays the Chola supremacy in the southern India at that point of time. The total weight of these set of the copper plates, that is somewhere near around 30 kilograms, and that signifies the monumental nature of the administrative act that was there during the time period of the Chola regime. Now, when it comes to Chola power is, one of the most important power when it comes to the kingdom of the south. And there were 2 major of the kings that ruled the Chola Empire. Rajaraj Chola I, who ruled from 985 to 1014 CE. And then there was Rajendra Chola I, who ruled between 1012 to 1044 CE as well. Now, these plates, basically, they have the record of land grant of the Anaimangalam village for the Buddhist Vihara at Nagapattinam as Palichandam. Now, Palichandam was basically the grants that were made to the non-Hindus. And it is very prominent to note over here that when it comes to the Chola Empire, the kings that were there, they were Shaivite. And they were making this donation of the village to the to build the Buddhist Vihara that was there. Also, the commitment for giving this land grant, that was of the Raja Raj I. However, this was formalized and engraved by his son later on, that is Rajendra I. Now, these are the primary sources for the reconstruction of the genealogy and the military conquest of the medieval Cholas, and that is why these copper inscriptions and the plates, they are very, very important. So, like I said, it is very important to note over here that the grant was for constructing the Chudamani Vihara that was built by the Sailendra dynasty of the Sri Vijaya kings of Indonesia. Despite being the staunch Shaivite, these people, the Chola, the Cholas, they patronized Buddhism to facilitate the international trade as well as diplomatic goodwill. And this is also the evidence of Sarv Dharma Sambhav, where the state have utilized the diverse religious institutions for the social stability. So the Anaimangalam plates, they reflect the cosmopolitan world, where a Tamil Shaivite, court, it has supported the Buddhist monastery linked to the South Asian royalty that was there at that particular point of time. Now, this also pertains to the Chola's maritime soft power and the maritime power that it had at that point of time. It is worth remembering that the Chola Empire, it was the first, kingdom in the India that had or maintained a very swift and strongest navy at that point of time. Now, Nagapattinam hub, it had acted as a proof of the Nagapattinam, which was a global trade transit point at that point of time, and also highlights the initial friendly phase before the naval expedition between Chola and the Sri Vijaya kingdoms. Alright, this also, the Cholas, they treated the Bay of Bengal as a Chola lake for the secure maritime commerce, and this also portrays about Indian Ocean security that was there at that point of time. So this is where we have the complete maritime hub. This is where the Nagapattinam is there. That is the site of the Chudamani Vihara and the epicenter of the Chola maritime diplomacy. Also, there is Srivijaya Kingdom that was located, the allied maritime kingdom that funded the monastery. And this is where we have present-day Indonesia, as well as when it comes to Nalanda. So Nalanda was located in Bihar. This was the ultimate destination for the Chinese pilgrims which passed through this complete maritime corridor. Over here we have the state of Malacca as well. And then we have the Atisa route. This was a path of the renowned Buddhist scholar Dipankar Srijana or Atisa, who traveled through this network to the Indonesia as well. So this shows the supremacy or the soft power of the Chola kingdom at that point of time. Now, when it comes to these copper plates, so there are certain administrative and revenue insights that we could gain from them. The first thing is about the land classification. There are the specific boundaries which were defined with walking of the elephant, which is also known as Karini Brahmanam. Alright, there is the taxation also, that is the detailed list of the local taxes that were there. Again, very important for your prelims, that is Kadmai or even Kudumai and their exemptions as well. They mention about irrigation as well, about the tank maintenance, water sharing rights and even the canal system. And also it mentions the role of Sabhas or the Brahmin assembly and the that is the commoner assembly that were there. So these are the key administrative and the revenue insight from these copper inscriptions that are there on the copper plates. Now this is the period of the zenith of the Tamil civilization. When it comes to the Anaimangalam plates, they belong to the era where there had been explosive growth in commerce, administration and even art under the Vijayalaya's successors. And when it comes to the architectural mastery, we can see it in the Brihadeshwar temple, which had been constructed by Rajaraj Chola I in the Tanjavur in the late 10th century. It is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. At the same time, this period also shows the metallurgical perfection, where you can see that the Chola age over here, it is internationally renowned for creating the bronze sculpture of the unparalleled artistic evidence that you can see, and excellence as well. There is literary immortality as well, where the Anaimangalam plates and the Chola era achieved vast recognition in popular culture through Kalki's celebrated Tamil historical novel Ponniyin Selvan. Alright, at the same time, when it comes to India, so there are different framework for the heritage retrieval. That is, we have Antiquities Act of 1972, which is which lays down the regulatory framework for domestic heritage. Then there is UNESCO 1970 framework as well, that prevents any kind of illicit transfer of the cultural property. Then there is Jatan database as well, which had been designed by the CDAC, and ultimately this is digital inventory of the museum artifacts that are there. However, there are certain challenges that we face while retracing and tracing the antiquities that are there. The first one is that there is difficult in tracing the legal as well as illegal exit of the artifacts, as well as there is significant heritage remains that is there in the private foreign collections, and therefore there is underreporting and there is slow diplomatic negotiation and high legal cost as well, and that is a challenge when it comes to the implementation of repatriation of the stolen arts. Now this is when it comes to the complete issue, it is basically the contemporary push for the retrieval that began not in the foreign embassy, but it was in the Madras High Court. In the Madras High Court, there was a PIL or public interest litigation that was filed in August 2019 by Advocate B. Jagannath, and he urged the formation of a joint committee to recover the Indian artifacts not only from Netherlands but also from Belgium. So there was, when it comes to this PIL, there was historical theft that was laid down in this about the statues that were, stolen from the Chudamani Vihara as well as various Hindu temples that are there in Tamil Nadu. And the presence of Buddha, Shiva as well as Vishnu and Devi idols at the Marcel Nice art gallery that is there in Belgium, that was also mentioned in this PIL. There is historical precedent as well that had been noted that the Kasiba Thera or the Buddhist monk renovated the shrine in the 6th century AD with the help of Nadu or Nagapattinam monks, that was also mentioned in this PIL. So it was this PIL that was filed in Madras High Court later on Even, there was change of the, policy when it comes to the Netherlands in 2022 that helped in repatriation of the stolen culture, or the cultural link that we have. So basically, this is cultural renaissance, where we must understand that the heritage is not just about the past, or it is not just the past, it is a seed of our future soft power as well. Alright, so that would be all in this video, but if you have any suggestions or any questions, you can write down in the comments. And also, we are going to launch the new batch of the Resolution P2I, that is our foundation batch for the general studies. And the batches will be starting from the 20th of May. So you can enroll into it if you are preparing for the, UPSC IAS 2027 or even for 2028. Now, you can get the maximum discount when you are purchasing the course on the platform of StudyIQ. Now, the trick is that you have to use the code, that is BRS Live, for the maximum discount, and ultimately you can get the maximum discount through this code on our platform. As well as when it comes to the optional, so if you are preparing for 2027 and 2028, you can enroll into the public administration optional batches. The classes have just started, and ultimately you can enroll into this batch as well. Along with this, for the maximum discount, again, you can use the same code, that is BRS Live. And if you are preparing for the 2026 and you will be giving the prelims, so there would be the crash course that will be starting just after your prelims examination from 26th of May itself. For the public administration, you can join the crash course for public administration again, and you can use the code, that is BRS Live. So that would be all in this video. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me over here. I'll see you in the next. Please do take care of yourself till then, and thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. But do not forget to like, share, as well as subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any of the future updates. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care, and Jai Hind.